Thank you for using Securus. You may start the conversation now.
Yo,
Yeah, what up, bro?
yeah, you sound mad low.
Yeah, these fucking phones, man. No bullshit. I think it's this phone. You can't hear me at all.
Now I can hear you. Now I can hear you better now.
Yeah, what's up, though?
Ain't nothing. I got it recorded, so let me know if you want to start.
Alright, yeah. Alright.
All right. So accordingly, I'm currently on the phone with Mr. Christian Rosado. He's currently residing at MCI Shirley Media with a sentence of 30 to 40 years. Am I correct?
Yes, right now, I'm serving a 34 years sentence.
All right. So the reason why we're basically sitting here interviewing and fleshing this out is we just want to get Mr. Rosado's story out because he has been wrongfully convicted. He maintains his innocence until today. He's currently in court fighting and going through his situation. So without further ado, I'm gonna just introduce Mr. Rosado. Christian, how you doing? How you feeling first and foremost?
I'm doing fine, man. I'm feeling great, man. You know, I'm in the best spirits. Um, yeah, man. Like he said, my name's Mr. Rosado, wrongfully convicted. I want to explain to the community that I had a hearing a couple months ago, and it has to do with the virgin adult law that came out last year. Well, it got ruled on in the U.S. Supreme Court years ago, but it's just solidified Massachusetts for the matters.
Okay, right. That was a very important thing too. So we were in the Massachusetts court. You were convicted in the Massachusetts court, right?
Yes, I was in the county.
All right. So now let's just get into it. Let's just jump straight into it. Can you bring us to the basically the incident where like when you were arrested? Can you bring us to the arrest and do you know the approximate like month, date, and year?
Uh, I got arrested on March 8th. I got arrested in Holyoke on my way to Springfield to be dropped off. And the marshal came to grab me and they said I had a warrant for my arrest. I thought I had a warrant for probation violation when I checked it in. But that's what I was told. And they said read the charges of armed assault with a murder, 3 counts. And they said I had steps of a shooting on 111 Revere Street. And I was like, all right. So they took me in and asked me if I wanted to speak. I said, if you're charged with a crime, I have nothing to say to you.
Wow. So you just thought you were had like a probation violation and it actually being something else. Wow. That's kind of crazy. So the reason why I'm asking that, so they said you were charged with, did they say shooting or did they announce like the charges and they said at such and such Revere Street? That was
Yeah,
it.
well, they get into too much like exercise, right? But I had when I got to Springfield, that's when they explained a little more to me. Cause I got booked to Holyoke, then I got brought to Springfield. Said William Bennett wanted me in Springfield for whatever reason. So they booked me, they exchanged me the charges down there, and I already knew a little bit, cause they said the cops looking for me and they had kicked my mom's door down. And I'm like, man, they're doing all that for probation. Like, nah, they're talking about some other stuff. I'm like, well, I don't know what they're talking about. But I was just, I was just moving around the streets. I had a girlfriend out in Holyoke at the time and stuff like that.
Okay. And you said you were 19, correct?
Yeah, I had just turned 20. I was just 19 like a couple months before
Okay.
that.
Now it makes sense. I just want to, keep everything in perspective. Um, all right. So, do you know who were the arresting officers or the marshals and all that?
I don't even, they never really declared their names. I couldn't even tell you that. When the warrant was executed, I'm sure I got some type of document saying the warrant, but I don't even know the U.S. Marshal's name. I recognize one, recognized one particular dude. He was a CEO at Hampton County. His name was Manning. I've seen him in a bunch. He's working with a task force to apprehend people that have warrants out for their arrest. And I recognize him from, working the unit. So that's about it. That's the only person I recognize.
Oh wow, so they had a CO actually out there raiding. Nah, I didn't know that. So another thing I wanted to add, or well, not add, but let's just move on. So now you're arrested, get charged, they bring you to Springfield. Obviously you were thrown in jail. Were you given a bail, anything?
At first, they didn't really even mention anything about a bail until I went to court in the morning.
Okay.
So they didn't tell me nothing about a bail until I went to court.
Nah, I kind of assumed. I just want to get that out. So let me just go into this. So throughout this process of what you just described, everything so far, from when you were on the ride from Holyoke and till going to court and not having a bail, right? How are you feeling? You know what I'm saying? Can you identify what your thoughts and everything from back then?
Really, I was kind of like, dumbfounded and like confused for like, for the first couple of days until I talked to my lawyer at the precinct. At the courthouse. Filled me in a little more, but I was confused for a while. So I actually got my discovery. Confused. Didn't understand why was I being charged.
Okay. Totally understand. So you didn't understand, obviously, that means like you had no knowledge of the incident prior, or like did you hear about the incident, or basically I guess the question everybody want to know is, did you do it?
Yeah. Nah, I didn't commit the crime. I didn't commit the crime at all.
No, I know you can't, you have legal proceedings and,
I got legal proceedings coming up. I can't really get into like the facts. I had to state that at the last hearing. I would love to get into facts, but what I can say is I really didn't shoot this person in the neck. I didn't really shoot nobody. Like, I don't know why I'm being charged for this, but it's clearly a miscommunication and I guess a wrongful investigation at this point.
Nah, I totally understand. Totally understand. So I just, want to identify with everything else. And you said you were just feeling like confused and just you trying to figure everything out. I just want the audience or whoever's listening to kind of identify and go through this experience with you a little bit so they can gather the whole thing. The emotional stress and everything else you went through. So moving on, now you're in jail. I'm assuming your lawyer comes to visit you at the time. Did you get a paid lawyer? What was going on?
I had a court-appointed lawyer. I switched up a couple of times. I ended up when I got indicted in Superior Court. That's when they revoked my probation violation. They never gave me time for my probation violation, which was very strange to me. It's like they already knew that I was going to get convicted for this crime. And usually they just give you the time and then they deal with the case as they go. But they never gave me time for the probation, which was very strange to me. It's like I said, it's like they knew that I was going to get convicted for this crime. And I was appointed counsel. I was submitted with my last case at 140 at that time, and that's when I started getting some of my discovery. A few months after that.
Okay, because that's where I wanted to get into. So now you're, in jail. You're not getting probation. Things just ain't adding up to you. You get your discovery. Bang! Now you finally get what they're accusing you of, what they're saying, or whatever, all the evidence they have against you, right? So going through that, what was that like? Especially knowing this ain't even me, you know what I mean?
Well, at first, when I noticed the original person that threw the party, I guess she had put flyers out, notified the neighborhood. I was familiar with that party because I had heard about it in the neighborhood a couple of days, for weeks before that. But it was strange to me because she that specific person that knew this party identified the black dude. Clearly cut, identified the black dude. He even mentioned it on a 911 kit on call that he has fucking hair. She ID'd him. The first statement, on the second statement, she ID'd him again. She says that the black dude was with this dude named Bebe, aka Rosado. And then I guess the investigation shifts to him, and that's when everything went left. You know what I'm saying? The investigation was focused on him as a person of interest. That's when the investigation focused on me for whatever reason, and the person that supposedly called 911 at the scene of the crime.
Wow. Totally understand that. So let me just breathe in there. Like, obviously, like you said, it was a party. You knew of the party. You heard about it. So obviously, you knew of the people. Like, or did you? I'm asking. Not obviously. Did you know the people who were either in the paperwork or I don't know the discovery? Did you know anybody? Could you basically?
Some people in the discovery, like came from Toronto, I was currently incarcerated. I would have I was previously incarcerated with him when I did a county bid. So I knew him. That's about really it. I didn't really know nobody else in that paperwork like that.
No, I'm just asking because I'm like, okay, you didn't know the first person, the woman you said was saying something or it was
I
like.
never met her before in my life. Ever. To be honest with you, I don't know none of the witnesses that identified me. I don't know. The only one I do know is Carmelo Serrano. I hooked him up with a girl before. I know him growing up. I didn't even went to elementary school. But other than that, I don't remember him. It's not a person I chill with, hung out with. I put him on with a girl in county, and then when he got out, he tried to go with my girl. He tried to holler at my girl, try to mess with my girl when I was in jail. He got out before me.
Oh wow. All right, wow. And so,
the reason why I brought that up is because that came out in the trial. So go ahead.
nah, yeah, I totally understand. The only reason why because I'm not even trying to get into the salaciousness of it, but I'm just trying to make sure that I'm connecting all the dots that Carmelo Serrano was in the paperwork and he was first identified as a shooter, and then this was the same guy.
Identified the person of interest that the shooter was with him. That's what the lady, Yolanda Rodriguez, said. She said the shooter was with this person. He came to the shooting to the party with this person. So he became a person of interest in the crime because he knew who the shooter was, and that's how the investigation started.
So bang, and this is the same guy who you were locked up with and got out and tried to go to your girlfriend at the time and kind of like get with her and just backstab you. Nah, all right. I'm just making sure it's not like to be salacious or anything. I'm just here to get facts. I'm here to be, impartial. I just want to know if everything is intact. If I'm following.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on. You get the paperwork. She says, Mr. Serrano, he becomes a person of interest now. Do they eventually get in contact with him throughout the discovery?
Yeah, I guess what I could tell is they end up getting in contact with him probably a few days after the shooting happened, I guess. From what they stated the shooting happened, and they rushed him, and I guess they interviewed him, and that's when he comes up with the story. You know what I'm saying? That it was me who did it, that I did it, and one of the other witnesses that was related to the chick, Joanna, when they say they're cousins, she says that Carmelo Serrano tells him who did it. So basically, in hindsight, he tells her basically to identify me. You could just infer that, you know what I'm saying, from how that was broken down in the trial.
So you said one thing, because I want to point that out and keep that in the forefront, just because all the things leading up is that there was a person they identified that said it was a black male that was the shooter in your discovery. Were there any more discrepancies that you pointed out just off the bat in your discovery before trial and brought these things up to your lawyer?
Oh yeah. One of the biggest things was how this was a house party with over 100 people. There was at least 25 people on a witness list, 20 to 25 people on a witness that was documented that actually being of the chain of events, seeing the chain of events, or actually, questioned by police at the scene. Only, I think, 7 of them had statements. So the cops did a poor job of following up, getting a version of events of what actually happened. So another discrepancy I picked up on was she identified the dude twice in the statement. The lady of the after hour party identified a dude, black dude named, his last name was Carlton or something like that, and he said
John Colton or something, yeah.
Yeah, John Colton, and she says that he was with Carlos Serrano Bebe. After Bebe goes down to the station, a few days after she identifies him, that's when the investigation shifts over to me. And he was a 911 caller at the night of the incident occurred. So on a 911 call, he never mentions me. He never mentions me at all. He doesn't identify nobody as a shooter. He just says his cousins got shot. Come to the party. Come to this location. Whatever, whatnot. He doesn't identify me on the call or anything like that. So in hindsight, he really didn't know anything. So I don't know how he came up. I don't know how my name came up. Where did he get this from? You know what I'm saying? I still to this day don't know why did he identify me. And they're trying to say this party where the shooting happened at was a pitch dark black place with a strobe like flash show.
That's what I was going to ask you next. So my next question was going to be, because you said the police picked out, or at least interviewed like 25 people, 25, 35 people from the party, right? And then only got 2 statements from 7. But out of them 7 people, or the 25 to 35 people, was there any accounts of you through them people?
No, only the 3 people, only the 3 people out of the probably like 10 people he interviewed physically. Only 3 people identified me, but all 3. The another thing was after Bebe Carlos Serrano identifies me, he goes and tells Jasmine Milner, this other female, that it was me. That came out on the trial that.
Wait, all right, but back up, because we're moving fast. I'm trying to say, so you saying on the night when everything initially happened, you weren't even involved in it until Carmelo Serrano Bebe went down to the police station. So before then, is what I'm saying, when the initial thing happened and the police came, from your discovery, do you see if you were in the okay, that's what I wanted to know. Were you initially or somebody said, oh yeah, I remember this guy at a party and shot, or anything?
Only when Carmelo Serrano became a person of interest, the investigation shifts over to me. I don't know why he identified me to this day. I just one of the reasons I thought was I pulled that out at trial was he was trying to crush on one of the girls I was dating at the time, and she was kind of rejected his offer. That came out on the trial. Maybe it was over that. I don't know what it was over. And then, like I said, he influenced other witnesses to say it was me too. And then the girl that allegedly identified the black dude, Yolanda Rodriguez, she ID'd me after her cousin, which is the other black chick, Jackson, that he tells that it was me that did it. She changed her statement, says the same thing, that she seen me at the bus when I went to school or something like that. And I was locked up, and I had never seen her at the bus. I didn't see visit the bus since I was 15 years old, so I never even recall seeing this chick ever. But she changed her statement. This is the lady that threw the after bar. So that conflicted eyewitness testimony, their stories didn't add up, and how they said the chain of events happened. didn't match neither. So those were a lot of discrepancies that came on the trial, and still through it all, through bias tactics. The DA on that case, Captain Tucci, was able to convict me on it. There was other mitigating factors of use of firearms that was found on the scene that they excluded, but that was never brought out in the report, and the state trooper wrongfully testified to that. But we'll get into that as
we're gonna keep going. So, all right. So we moving forward now. We about to get to like get in there. We got to discover everything. Now we're gonna move up to like the trial date. Or before we get to the trial date, I guess I want to ask. Is there anything significant or noteworthy that you might want to mention for your journey from pre-trial to trial? Like, was there any extracurricular forces or anything? You know what I mean? Did you feel any pressure?
No, just the public defender on the case was offering me offers 10 in a day, 9 to 10, so all these offers, and I keep telling him, yo, I didn't shoot this person, I didn't shoot none of these, like, I wasn't part of this, like, I kept stressing it to him. Then the heat turns up, probably like 90 days before trial in October, when we asked for the independent firearm expert, which wasn't even a firearm expert. I'll get into that. He didn't even do his independent analysis, but I'll get into that later. They appointed somebody out of the CPCS murder council because Louis Adorno was having trouble with his physical health, and he kept being hospitalized, kept going in and out of comas, and he was about to essentially die. So they was trying to arraign me on a first-degree murder charge. That's where things got a little more intense, and I knew I was fighting for my life.
Yeah. All right. Wow. So now you're in the trial, and basically the end got up on you without you knowing, and you're going to trial now. We're gonna walk through the trial now. In the trial, what ends up coming out? Like, how did that happen, and how did the turnabout happen for? Like I said, you say you're an innocent man. We know that you're fighting your innocence, you maintain your innocence to this day, but yet still you lost trial. So how does that whole situation play out or work?
Like I told you, I was originally charged with 3 counts on the assault to the murder. 3 people were shot. At the trial, I was, I don't know, through God's grace or whatever you may call it, I was able to interview one of the victims that was shot at the night of the event, and he ended up saying the truth of what happened. Like, he haven't seen nobody. The person that he could have, he said he saw was in my build, was in my shape, was in anything. Couldn't identify me as a person. Like, he could barely, like, he got shot from behind. So both a little bit the glimpse of the shooter he got, he started arguing with the DA on the stand, said, I told you. Like, and he became a hostile witness because they started arguing back and forth right there on the stand, said, I told you it wasn't him. I told you it wasn't his bill. I told you it wasn't his fingerprint. I told you it wasn't him. So I ended up getting a not guilty verdict. So one of the officials, in hindsight, testified on my behalf, and I ended up getting a not guilty verdict. I ended up getting found guilty of 2 counts based off with the eyewitness testimony and falsified testimony through the state trooper ballistic analysis, in which they claimed that the gun that was found at the scene, which the DA says was Hector Durham's gun, they believe it to be, didn't strike no bystanders at the scene, but there was no report indicating that in the preliminary reports, and no reports indicated that that gun was excluded because they didn't look at no CT scans and they never got the projectile out the wall. The match was excluded.
This one doesn't make sense to me. You're going to trial. They say it's one shooter. They got you on trial for being the shooter of 3 people. Now, 2 people is saying he shot me, or one person says he shot me, or whatever. And then you got the one person who was also shot there with him, but said, I told you that wasn't him. So I still am kind of a little lost how they go, all right, well, we're going to now make this a 2-shooter theory, and we're going to find you guilty for these 2 people, but not this one person.
Yeah, Yeah, man. All I could say was the AD on the case was very theatrical and manipulative, like the way she manipulated evidence, how she got the state troopers to testify on the stand to issue that gun. When that was never in their preliminary report. My lawyer hired a ballistics expert that never did an independent. The state trooper wouldn't even let him do an independent analysis or anything like that. So in hindsight, I went to trial with a defense firearm expert that conceded to what the trooper said when he didn't even conduct his own independent analysis. So how was I supposed to beat that case? I didn't have no rebutting the presumption that was being presumed, and they didn't have no evidence to come off. They didn't have no evidence to substantiate what was testified to at trial by these ballistics experts. So that it became complicated, and I didn't understand. But I understand now because they was able to get the testimony in, and that was deemed true. So they was able to paint me as the villain. You know what I'm saying? As the person, as the perpetrator that committed this crime. When they knew all along that Hector Durno was participant of the crime, was left a gun evidence at the scene. They knew all this because of statements when Yolanda Rodriguez stayed these shoes. And at trial, the event wants to come forward with the truth. He says that Hector Durno had a gun that was trying to pull out and shoot that night too. So he had to, he left that part out deliberately during the police interviews for that trial. He wants to come out and bring that out for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Now I understand. We definitely gotta get to that because it's a lot coming out, and I just want to make sure that the information that is being spoken is being digested by the audience that is for too. If you want to call back, please. I wanted to get into the gun specifics, like you were saying. Number one, we introduced Hector Durno. I'm pretty sure he wasn't introduced into the story before, so I want to leave that in so the audience kind of can get a picture of how, what's going on. But also, before I do that, let's go back to the gun and the expert and why he didn't do his job, because I think that ties into, like you said, the DA was doing a good job of putting on the show. And what I wanted to kind of tie in, because I don't know if, you were ready to talk about this, but I think it's a bigger overall issue too, is the police neglect as far as with the investigation, conducting their investigations, but also with like how evidence be getting destroyed or how there be a lack of, and how it seems that like trials, I don't know around the world, but especially like in Massachusetts, because I went through the court system in Massachusetts, it seems like it's an unfair edge. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, but in your case, it seems like you were just labeled guilty. That's the story. Now they're just trying to find ways to make you guilty.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what happened. Like I said, so ultimately at the end of the trial, I was found guilty. I was found guilty of 2 counts. 2 counts. Hector Durno is one of the victims in the crime that I'm being alleged for committing. You know what I'm saying? So, not to mention Louis Durno, his brother, is his brother, and then Hector Colon was the 3rd victim that I got found not guilty for. So
Carmelo Serrano wasn't even an alleged victim. He was just there as an alleged perpetrator, and then all this came out.
So he became a person of interest as a person that brought somebody to the scene and committed the shooting by Yolanda Rodriguez. He never, on trial, when he was being called his name by the DA, by my lawyers, he never discloses who brought him to this party. He just said he just picked up a ride by some random stranger, never discloses who this person is. For whatever reason, like I said, those are things that never came out, and that's, to this very day, I don't know who brought him to that party, and that's possibly the person that committed the shooting. There's different dead ends of this investigation that the cops, the police in this matter, never further gave a chance to further investigate. And this is something that a witness being at the beginning of the investigation, at the genesis, then everything switched over. Like I said, at the end, the result was 2 guilties, 1 not guilty, and then the firearm offenses was attached to that, which I don't understand if I never got apprehended with a firearm. Um, from my understanding, like there was one firearm at the scene from what the DA says. So other people at the time she says that belongs to Hector and Journal. I don't know if that really does or doesn't. I really don't. To this day, I don't know none of the facts of this case. There's still like a lot of unreasonable determination of the facts because Hector and Journal chose through his counsel, chose to plead the fifth. And he had a certain Fifth Amendment right, and his Fifth Amendment right was to be the participant of the shooting and possession of a gun. He admitted to his lawyer, and that's how he was given a immunity agreement at trial. And when he was given this immunity agreement, he still refused to testify before the Commonwealth. He still refused to divulge information and testimonial evidence that could have found who the actual perpetrator of this crime was.
Okay, so it's getting a little more intricate because, all right, now that you brought them in, because it's a lot to digest. Because, like I said, are we still neglected? So, not only do you get an expert who doesn't do his job, but then you also the two victims. Now you said the two victims are possibly culpable of the crime, but they're getting like some type of immunity out of the thing.
Well, no. All right. So the two victims, one of the two was the journal and Hector, their brother. One is seriously injured due to the incident that was committed this night. I feel empathetic to him because I don't know, man. Like he don't seem like a bad person. What little bit I know about him, but I never knew who he was. I found out after I was incarcerated. His brother, everything came out that he was a gang member. He's a Latin king. He's known to carry firearms. He did a federal offense. He did time for a federal offense of possession of firearms. This is all newspaper articles. You Google his name. I'm sure that'll top out to these. He played good police charges. So he got swept up in a Latin king suite. So this is all things that already out in the computer. If you Google his name, you will cross-reference and you will see that she's true. So I ended up getting found guilty of two counts or whatever. But he was the only one given an immunity agreement. He never gave a statement. No victim ever gave a statement identifying me as the perpetrator of this crime. None of the victims in this case. He never gave a statement. The journal never gave a statement. Hector Cologne gave a statement, but never described me. And then he took the stand and said that the little bit that he's seen of the shooter was not me. I could not fit the description. But yeah, Hector Journal was the only one with a qualified immunity agreement at trial. Carmelo Serrano had a consideration and was going to get a bail reduction due to his testimony and be released from Northampton prison at the time of this trial. So he had some type of ulterior motive to testify.
Wow. Okay. Not the kind of people, Matt. And so, from the looks of it, all right. So nobody wrote a statement. You go to trial now. You got these dudes all through the statement with you there, and these dudes, both Mr. Serrano, Carmelo Serrano, wrote a statement, but he didn't identify you. In that trial, he was the only one who said, "I told you this wasn't him." The rest of the brothers, the two brothers, possibly identify you at trial?
No. Carmelo Serrano was one of the witnesses, 3 witnesses. Jasmine, Milner, Carmelo Serrano, and Yolanda Rodriguez, the person that blew the party. Carmelo Serrano was given consideration for bail reduction on a pending legal matter. Hector Cologne was one of the victims of this crime. He was shot that night.
Okay.
He testified that he didn't see me at the scene of the crime. The shooter was not my build or anything. That's what he testified to the trial. Hector Alderdo never testified because he had a Fifth Amendment. Even though he had a Fifth Amendment issue, he was given an immunity agreement for his testimony, meaning he couldn't have been charged for this crime, to divulge the truth, to divulge the actual testimony. He still refused to cooperate with the Commonwealth, and Louis Cerno couldn't testify due to his condition.
Yeah, so now how do we get from here? How do we get Mr. Hector Adorno, by him pleading the fifth, how do we get him getting that immunity if he doesn't testify?
To this day, I don't know why was the reason. He never gave a statement to the police, anything. He just, at the whim of the trial, he tells the lawyer, I can't testify to have a Fifth Amendment issue. Through his lawyer, he tells that to the judge. The judge then turns around, gives him a qualified immunity agreement. He had a pending federal case that he was facing 10 years for. So they try to see if it was potentially federally he was potentially federally for immunity. He was. Comes back the next day and he still refused to exercise his Fifth Amendment right. And the judge told him he was going to hold him in contempt. She never held him in contempt. He refused and never divulged the unreasonable determination of the fact. And this matter being that he knew what happened, he discharged his firearm and he was potentially perpetrating the crime.
Wow. Yeah, because I feel for the life of me, that's burned out. That's when he was hurt.
Yeah, he was never charged. He was never charged for this crime, although there was statements saying that he was shooting that night. Evidence of him allegedly leaving a gun at the scene. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Springfield police, but it seems like they got favorable treatment down there. I don't know what's going on. What's the reason behind that?
Wow. So that happens, trial happens, and all that gets convicted, right?
Yeah, they end up finding me guilty of 2 counts out of 3 on murder. I have 5 counts in total for including the possession of the firearm, which they found me guilty of. I don't understand it. I never possessed a firearm. I never caught me lifting a firearm. Like, to this day, I don't understand why I was found guilty of that, but hey, I don't know, only the jury knows.
Definitely. So, now, you lose trial, you obviously you're in jail because you lost trial or whatever, and now you're going to upstate, I'm assuming. What's it looking like, and what is your lawyer saying post trial and everything else? Like, what's going on?
You know, my appellate lawyer at first was some lady named Leslie Coleman out of Boston. She was trying to offer her bill. She asked me a lot of questions. I don't know. She seemed like she wanted to believe that I didn't commit the crime at first, but she was, reluctant like any lawyer. These lawyers think they know everything. So I just was like, all right, that's cool. I mean, you don't believe me? She's like, nah, I believe you, but I said in my soul, I needed some type of proof. So on an unrelated matter, Andy Lebron, he ends up getting charged for a crime he didn't commit, get found not guilty, all that, by the same arresting cop, same investigating cop. He gets a not guilty verdict. He gets charged for second-degree murder. He gets charged with armed robbery. Charged with 3 counts of armed assault with intent. Same situation, just a year after me. But the cop in that case, named Timothy O'Shea, he's an investigating officer in my case. He took the statement from the sergeant witness named Jeremy Dean in that case, and he discloses that Christian is sitting in jail for a shooting that he could have done. Now, this cop has the statement 10 months before my trial. I end up obtaining it through my own means. I end up forwarding it to Leslie Foreman Rumpler, the attorney, the appellate attorney at the time, and she says, nah, now I definitely believe there's something up here. Like, yeah, I understand. I'm like, now you believe me? She's like, yeah. So I followed Rule 30 to try to get it on the record. Ultimately, that was denied. One of the justices ruled in my favor, named Justice Berry. She ruled in my favor, and because of her ruling in my favor, saying it was exculpatory, that I should have been given, that it was newly discovered, and that was withheld, I was able to get into the federal court, but through it all, I got my appeal denied, the 2-1. was against me in my appeal. So I was able to get into the federal court with that ruling and assert an actual innocence claim, which I ended up losing my federal hate, and then that's how the Innocence Project comes into my case and screens my case after I lose my federal appeal.
Wow. So now let's take this here now. So now the Mass Innocence Project, what is that about?
Massachusetts Innocence Project is an organization that got CPCS one and they got a New England, a regional one, and they got a nationwide one. I was I was fortunate to get screened by both of them, and they both wanted to take the case. They said there was too many discrepancies, and they showed there's more to uncover. They ended up paying for private investigators, done ballistics analysis, and giving me the adequate funds to prepare adequate defense, a viable defense, to rebut the presumption against me. So I was able to do that with the Massachusetts Innocence Project. It helped me a lot. I uncovered a lot of things that I didn't know. I got new witnesses that 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 identify somebody else as the shooter. To support my third-party corporate defense strategy at trial. I was able to get a ballistic that finally testifies that says there was no rhyme or reason for them to pursue the gun that was found at the scene when there was not no third projectile found at the scene extracted from the wall or looked at any CT scan to exclude that weapon. Um, yeah, and then I asked we asked the DA. We ended up getting a statement from one of the DA Mosley, the also known as Philip, and I guess he purchased the firearm for one of the perpetrators. He described the perpetrator, and in that case, he ends up getting caught with his firearm, gets convicted, try overturns the case, and when I told him to preserve this evidence, I told the DA's office to preserve this evidence. They just destroy it right after that. 3-4 weeks after I proposed to preserve it, they destroyed the evidence because I told them it proves my factual innocence. They destroyed the evidence on that matter too. Once the Massachusetts Innocence Project got involved.
Wow. So you knew the police had the murder weapon in custody, in police custody, and you still managed to get rid of it. They gave you no reason, no rhyme or reason.
Nope, none at all.
Wow.
None at all to this day. So my lawyer ended up asking for post-conviction discovery. Upon that post-conviction discovery, I was able to obtain the ballistics done on that weapon, on those weapons that the emotions that he purchased from the perpetrator of that committed the crime on 111 Revere Street. So once the ballistics expert gets apprehension of his ballistics file, he runs into the National Rifling Database, which is a federal database that do rifling on all guns that are apprehended through suspects throughout the state of Massachusetts and nationwide. And they got a hit to the crime scene. They linked to the crime scene, so it supports the emotion story. Thanks to the Innocence Project, I'm in position right now. I had to argue with the emerging adult thing, the science, for me to get my timely dues at least, because everybody that got convicted of murder in the first degree are now free for after 15 years. Here, I'm convicted of 2 counts of armed assault with attempted murder, and I've been here 20 years with no relief. No chance of getting out, and I'm wrongfully convicted at that.
How many years?
Well, I've been there 19 years and 4 months.
Yeah. The police have failed in this investigation on multiple scales and on multiple fronts by not following up with their procedures and their protocols. In this case, there's three victims, alleged victims in this incident. One victim, Hector Cologne, gave a statement. The other victims, Hector and Louis Adorno, there is no documentation in my discovery that states that they were visited at the hospital, that there was questions, and if they were cooperative or uncooperative. They don't say any of the above. There's not no follow-up report. There's not no documentation. I'm sure it happened. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I'm sure that's part of their protocols and procedures. What I'm saying is I never received any documentation saying that that interview took place or a follow-up interview took place and if there was cooperative or uncooperative. I was never privy to that information or disclosure at all.
Wow. So basically, that's a part of the multitude of other things that was wrong as far as what the officers were doing.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. I'm saying that the officers failed on multiple scales. That was just one of many parts they failed. Along with the DA's office, the DA's office, I got into how I told him to preserve two guns that was wrapped up in an unrelated matter, and to destroy that as soon as I told him to preserve it, and exonerate me factually of the crimes that I'm being charged and alleged against. So these are multiple fronts, man. They didn't follow up on a lot of things. This is a serious investigation. You got serious allegations, and being that the community police, it's important that they get all the facts and collect all the evidence on an unbiased level so it can be sorted out properly in court.
So just going back, like I said, this is the tail end of what we got to discuss and everything. But now we've talked about CPCS and everything. So what does it look like today? Number one, I guess I'll start off so since the conviction, since not more than so over the conviction, since the arrest, right, up until now, can you tell me or can you describe to me who Christian Rosado is? Because that's a long time to be taken out of the world, right? And in the context, you're innocent. And we're going to maintain your innocence, but still in the context of you were a child, and now you're a man. And what does that look like growing up in the environment you're in? And what steps did you kind of take to mature yourself or to bring yourself to where you are today?
Well, like you already know, my name is Christian Rosado. Most of my friends call me Christ for abbreviation, not a religious purpose. Just an abbreviation of my name. Yeah, man, I'm just a person that, grew up poverty-stricken. I had a two-parent household. I was fortunate in that all the way until I was 16 years old. Then my mother and my father separated. My mom had a reason. My father was shooting drugs, and my mom was a single mother at that time, trying to raise two sons and a daughter. Other than that, I went to school. I had trouble in school because I was always getting into a little trouble. I was already exploring a teenage life of smoking weed. I was going down a wrong road, a wrong path of my life. I was, veering off. I did have a passion for cooking at that time, at that age. I was taking culinary arts. Yeah, man. And I played a lot of sports. I played basketball for the league. I played as a kid for the Hilltop Braves. I played football for Putnam, but I got cut due to my grades. I was pretty athletic. I grew up in my neighborhood. I'm well known in my neighborhood. Yeah, I'm just, today I'm a different person, man. Who I was then, man, I was a troubled kid to some degree in my past. I always hanging around the wrong people that I shouldn't have been hanging around with. And, I grew up a lot, man. Prison is a place where either, it matures you faster than what you should, but it also centers you as a man and makes you find who you really are. I didn't know who I was when I was 17 years old, 19 years old. When I came in from this town, I just turned 20. I didn't know who I was even when I was 40 years old. But as my journey progressed, I met people across the state, and my views on life started shaping differently. One particular organization, the Nation's Guard, had an impact on my life, my growth. Taught me how to be accountable to myself and my community, how to be, more productive with my time, actually do my time, not every time do me, keep a balance in my life through exercise, spiritual enlightenment, and being more accountable within the good and evil within myself. Yeah, man, and I just, always speak the truth now, man. And if I could, if I see an injustice, I speak out against it. I took a paralegal course. I was certified paralegal through Black Folk Career Institute. Took an advanced course in that and worked with safety trust. I went to Mount Washington College. I'm currently working on a business finance degree. I've been productive with my time. I held a job throughout my whole thing, and I'm just a man now. I'm ready to get out. If rehabilitation was a necessity, I'm fully rehabilitated. Although I got into trouble during my incarceration, for the most part, I never staff assaulted. I never attacked nobody with a weapon. Never got caught with no weapon because I don't really see the use of them. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like if you know how to fight, and if you got a big mouth, you should be able to back it up. I don't really have a big mouth at all. I'm a humble person. I'm just me, man, unapologetically.
Nah, that's a great thing. Bro, I was gonna say, throughout the years, because what I noticed is a lot of people who get in, especially people who go in as children and stuff, sometimes they don't really come out fully developed or educated, or I don't know. Not saying it in the wrong way, they're not educated or retarded and nothing like that. But what I mean is sometimes it seems like people just go in jail and they come out young and youthful, they play ball, they be physically fit and in shape, but it just don't seem like education. So to hear you say you've been, to college and holding a job and doing these things on mature, responsible levels, that just shows different. I was what was kind of the difference, do you think? Did you read a lot, or how did you, during your time in the seminary?
I did do a lot of research, a lot of soul searching. When you're alone and you have time on your hands, you tend to analyze everything about the people around you, specifically yourself. You start noticing little habits you have, nuances. One time I went to the segregation unit and I was reading a book, and I noticed I could not focus for more than 30 seconds without my mind drifting. So I showed a short attention span to things that either uninterested in me or that I couldn't focus. My mind would wander for whatever reason. So once I identified that, I started working on focusing techniques like meditation. And then I started picking up. When I got upstate, I stopped reading hood books. I just started reading self-help books, things that help me build character, integrity, morals, principles, and I started focusing on finance and how I was able to, acquire some type of wealth without doing it illegally, without risking my freedom, without risking my community and causing damage to my community. I just started having a different outlook and knowing that this was a different way. I never seen a different way. I never even thought of a different way until I was reading those type of books like Guide to Invest In by Robert Kiyosaki, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. But yeah, it was a lot of reading. Message to the Black Man to America, in America by Elijah Muhammad. I just met a complete dissatisfaction within myself. That's what Elijah says. One who wants to seek change has met a complete dissatisfaction with his situation and himself. And I met that point. Once I came upstate, man, I'm at that point. I just wanted to change, man. I didn't want this no more. I didn't want the life of a gangster. I don't want the life of a dog. I don't want none of that. I just wanted a life of a noble person that wants to be free, can provide for his family. That's it.
Understandable. That's very well put. So kind of what brings me to the end, but I was just gonna say, because it kind of ties into what you were just saying. Now that we're here, now that the Innocence Project is working, and I hope everything goes as planned or, great for you. But we're gonna work on the outside to just put as many eyes and ears on this situation as possible as well. But in the event now that everything does go good, right? Like I said, or like you said, you came in at 20 years old and everything, and you've been through a lot. Like, what does Christian Rosado look like now as a free man? What is life like? What is life on the other side? Like, what can we expect from you?
What you can expect for me to be is, man, a tax-paying citizen, a father, a brother, a person in the community you can ask for help. I'll assist you if I could. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's if anything was in the legal confines, I will assist you 100%. Anything illegally, I want nothing to do with. And it's just me being free. I can't speak on it for much because it seems like a dream. But yeah, man, it's all about growth from here on out, man. It's all about what can I acquire and what can I provide for my family and then my community. That's just what it is. That's where I'm at. That's where my head's at.
I totally understand, and I totally agree. That's definitely major something to add. And all through and through, once again, while we have you on this interview, I wanted to add, can you give me some examples of other police misjustices, miscarriages that you've seen while you've been incarcerated, or not even that you've just seen, but that you may have heard from other people that you may have been locked up with, some of the atrocities, just so we can let the audience know of the different various forms this comes in.
Yeah, I don't really believe this is a county thing. Like, I don't think this is a just and county thing either. Like, the DA we have right now, his name is Galuni. We inherited this type of tactics and bias and corruption from his predecessor. I think he's trying to do his best to straighten it out, but I think it's a very statewide thing. I heard of other allegations in other counties that police assault, use of force on people, fabricate cases, fabricate charges, enhance charges, all that. Like, just, certain cases on job when you don't want to cooperate with the police, they will do anything that may even wrong. The prosecutor, the police is saying it wrong because you're not aiding them in the investigation. They feel you either know about or to assist them in. It is a big disconnect. I can talk about the DNA labs. There's big cases right now that are pending right now that's going to be being filed about people processing DNA specimens, signing off on them, signing off on limb systems, and then signing off, and there's somebody else that's doing the work, and they're not being notified on time. The reason why that's a problem in cases like that, where they're documenting and testing evidence, is because of competition issue, which is a fundamental right in this country. There's cases right now that people literally getting for the DNA, multiple. I know this guy named Pierre has an issue for the SAT right now. He has a DNA issue. Anthony Moore has a DNA issue right now that, these people testify that they did everything in this case, but there's other signers, there's other documents, other people's initials, there's other people, the hours are not there for them to sign in at the system at the time. Just things like that. So being that somebody else is processing this evidence, you have a right to cross-examine them on the work they did in regards to this investigation. and they're not being privileged with all that information. Another thing is another person that they will hold exculpatory evidence that I know about first-hand encounter is George Washington. Yeah, Washington was wrongfully convicted. As far as I know, and the reason why I say he was wrongfully convicted is because he has shown me evidence of third-party culprit. He has proven that through documents that the police have 40 years. Accusations of disinformation and this testifying victim witness that they supposedly had that was aiding the shootings and murders, and they made him look like he was a civilized person and a well-good citizen in society, and he was really a criminal. He's a person that killed people, possibly shot people, possibly robbed people, but they weren't privy to that information. Trial with trial. And it finally came out after 20 years of incarceration. I mean, at the end of the day, you want to make sure he's convicted of that. That's the job of these DAs. And I think they're taking this personal and they're saying above and beyond, trying to get justice, but justice is not there to be served.
You put it perfect because that's really the goal. It's like, you understand the role of crime and punishment and everything that it plays, but you do want to make sure that you get the right person because there's innocent people's lives at stake every day that lose out time with their family, their friends, their loved ones, and everything else. People dying there innocently. So that was the best way, in my opinion, of getting in that. Like, you couldn't have said it any better, my friend.
Yeah, man. It's sad, man. It's sad to see such an injustice. I mean, they're just a few. I can't even count. To be honest with you, I wouldn't even begin to count, man. Honestly, I really can't even count. There are people that I know currently are dealing with during my incarceration, and Dave Whitechoke used to tell me about his brother being wrongfully convicted. People like that I've been in, and they were wrongfully convicted, and they had the proof all along, and somehow, some way, they weren't able to get to this evidence because either the DA withheld it, or they knew about it and they didn't want to notify them about it, or whatever the case may be, or they came up on it after, however it may be. But why do you gotta spend 20 years of your life, 30 years of your life, and then come up with a viable defense strategy? Then that's as long as that type of evidence will be given to you in years of study, which is a fundamental right, to prepare adequate viable defense for yourself.
Absolutely right. Well, if you want to keep going, go ahead.
There's a couple of things I want to say about the misconduct in the police, man, in regards to like William Barr, people that was he's the Attorney General that assisted Donald Trump and his administration in investigating Smithfield, in particular due to the use of force that was being used on residents in Smithfield, Massachusetts. They used to abuse a lot. And I want to highlight the significance of that, because when you attack your residents, you attack your citizens, and you're supposed to be policing them, but you're using these martial arts, MMA tactics, military tactics against residents, civilians. What makes you think they're going to come forward and cooperate with you, and aid you in getting somebody to pay a debt to society? This is why there's so much wrongfully convicted people now, because there's a disconnect with that type of abuse of power when you hide it behind that badge. That's just what it is. And the Trump administration, I feel, where they feel that as far as William Barr, they went back 5 years and they proved that they falsified reports on use of force. They didn't take pictures, or the pictures didn't coincide with the report. His partner's report was fabricated. It was coincided. It was front-page. It just didn't go back further enough. And then it goes back deep enough neither. It targets one aspect of a police department, which is called a CP3 unit. And it wasn't enough. They were talking about narcotics bureau. That's the whole police station. That's the whole police station. That's how they operate. Is that's what it is. It don't come, oh, nah, it's just that department. Nah, that whole station is corrupt. And not only them, the state troopers are corrupt. Not to mention, you see what's going on in Karen Reed with the Michael Proctor thing. In my case, the state troopers falsified a testimony. They straight up like that. On his report, he says the gun was discharged and was found at the scene. 2 of the projectiles were recovered. The third one was not recovered. That's all he states. On the stand, he says due to trajectory, the third projectile wasn't recovered. The gun was discharged at the scene. But he said on the stand that the gun that was recovered at the scene did not strike no bystanders at the party. And the reason why that's a problem when you lie, you mislead the jury, is excludes. They already said that was possibly hectic with their gun. That was what the Commonwealth theory was. You can't definitively say that if you didn't look at CT scans and you know there's projectiles still lodged in these alleged victims. You didn't look at CT scans, you didn't get the projectile, the same projectile out the wall, and you said it got stuck in. So, when you didn't get all this information and you're testifying to something that you're not saying in your report, you are committing perjury on your own. You are misleading the jury to believe something that is not. And that's a big problem. That's on the state trooper level. That's on the state troopers.
I think it's on the state troopers and the media. The media plays a part in that too with the sensationalism and reporting the story. Well,
yeah.
I also want to say I dare to go back even further when you was talking about corruption, why people didn't want to, or why people don't want to cooperate in Native. I dare to go back even further. This kind of, to me, stemmed from slavery. After slavery, with the slave codes and them locking people up for something as simple as like loitering or soliciting or whatever it may be, created like a distrust. And then America's history with, the Irish people and making them police, and the paddy wagon history with them rounding up black people and sending them back to plantations, all translated to me. And I ain't mean to take over your interview, but I'm just saying, I just think it's a deeper rooted problem, and it's more than just a statewide issue, it's a nationwide issue, because this entrenched within our nation. Slavery is a deep rooted part of several institutions in the American system, whether it's the justice institution, the education institution, or any other facet. Slavery is deeply entrenched, and that is something that we have to fight tooth and nail.
Yeah, I agree, man. There's no reason why, your community police is militarized. They got militarized training, they got militarized weapons. Why do you have, there's a military for a reason. The police don't need to be running around here like military. Like they're ready for Afghanistan. You're governing citizens of your own time. Like, why do you need a tank? Why do you need a rocket launcher? Why do you need a AK-47? You don't need none of that. You know what I'm saying? Unless you feel it's that dangerous, where you're in a war zone, then, I guess it's justifiable, but that's what the military is there for. That's who you activate. That's who you say, martial law, or these state of emergencies. That's what the government's for. You don't militarize the police and try to govern your average day citizen. You just don't do that.
You're absolutely right, my brother. But, coming to an end before we do close is, because literally you got about a minute and 30 seconds left. So, is there, anything else, any shout outs you might have forgot the first time, anything?
Yeah, I want to shout my brother People, man. He's been supporting me through all this Indian levels, man. Check him out on Facebook. He's been supporting me. He's my daily supporter. Blaze G, my man Hat, the Gomez brothers. Of course, my family, my wife, Jaylene, my mother, my brother, Joe Sign, you know, he's been my number one supporter always. YBLR, that being you, everybody, man. My whole
We have
community
1 minute left.
supports me. And I thank y'all for being at my hearing, for my sentencing, and yeah, man, y'all hear a lot more from me. Hopefully, I get out within the next few months and it's an adult. And you know, peace, man, and hopefully I shall be assistant to my community now. Thank you for this interview, and everything's all love, man. Peace.
Peace, man. We out here fighting for you, my guy.
All right. Thank you, my brother. Peace.
Definitely. Peace.